I regret my finances, how I handled my finances. I regret living a life as if I'm a rich person. So I've always lived like that. Welcome to my channel. My name is Flavia. In this channel, I'll be talking about how to rebuild your life and how to restore your life. I've been blessed enough that God has always put a lot of opportunities in front of me in terms of finances. I've never found myself to struggle. I'm a lone parent and I'm also a nurse. And we all know that in the UK, nursing does not pay much. For you to squander it or for you to live as if, as if you got so much money. I don't know about other countries, but I know that in the US, once you're a nurse, it's almost like you've made it in life. But in UK, you can't do that. Other people might beg to differ, but in my own narrative and my experience is different. I worked mostly with NHS, and NHS does not pay much. We're talking about 1,800 a month up to 2,200 a month. That's it. That's when you work overtime, weekends, because they have incentives. So my story is this. I regret the decisions that I've made in my life, how I squandered the money that I had. Every time I had my salary, I would take it and misuse it and spend all my check and not leave anything. I think it's a mixture of foolishness and being naive and living in illusion, I would say, or trying to compete with the Jones. Do they say the Jones or whatever? Trying to compete with people who don't have a similar life like myself, who don't have challenges like myself. As a single parent, as a lone parent, you cannot live life as if you have somebody to help you with finances. I don't have anyone to help me with my finances. I should have thought about it. Every check that comes to my account should be accounted to, but I've never really budgeted in my life. I can say that with all honesty, that I've never really had to budget in my life. I've always had my money and squander it and just spend all of it. And also spending, not wanting to invest. I think for some reason, I knew that, okay, I'm a business-minded person. I want to have business in life, which I did try. I wasn't consistent enough. Like, things were not going the way I wanted to. I could have really try and work hard on that business and make it work. I was selling clothing online on Etsy and also on Shopify. I left Shopify, I went on Etsy, which was working well. Most of my customers were Americans, which actually gave me an insight. So I regret that I didn't invest the money. I regret that I didn't really save money. I've never saved. Saving for me was like an insult. If somebody tells me save money, I felt like I took it personal. I'm like, why would you tell me to save money? I didn't really think that it would come a day in life where I would have less looking for pennies in my purse. I remember there was this time my son needed the money for a bus. This is embarrassing, but I want to be as transparent, as honest as I can be on this channel. And because that's why I created this channel, so that people like myself and you, if you are in the same position as I am, where you find yourself, you're barely making it in life, and you want to try to make your life better. That's why I'm making this video, and that's why I created this channel. So I found myself scrapping, looking for pennies, and I felt really bad. I felt like I failed my son and failed myself. There's no reason why I should have found myself in this position where I don't have money, where I couldn't even afford £1.10. £1.10 is not much to give your child to go to school. So I remember I had to give him 2 pennies, and the bus drivers, they don't like that. They don't want somebody to give them so much pennies, but at least I had money for my son to go to school. And this is the first time that I found myself really broke to the bottom, okay? And that was the beginning. And then one time I found myself going to the store wanting to buy something, and my card declined, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, how did I find myself here? And then I still found excuses. I would say, oh no, because I don't have childcare. I really focused on the fact that I didn't have childcare, but not really on the decisions that I've made. Because I lived a life as if I have support, as if I have people to help me with my child, as if I had reliable childcare. If I had lived a life where I accepted that I'm a single mom or single parent and live my life around that and plan every single thing and look for a job based on the fact that I don't have childcare and based on the fact that I'm by myself, I would have made better decisions. I would have looked for a job that surrounds that kind of schedule. I wouldn't have gone starting like agency nursing, because agency nursing, most of the shifts that comes with night shifts. You hardly come around day shifts as agency nurse. So because of that, it meant that I would work when I have childcare, which means if I have someone to look after my son at night, and then I'll take night shift. If I don't have, then I'm not working. So what that meant was also my bank balance was not balancing. The checks were not balancing, because then I'm only working when I can. I'm only working few days. And with it also, that gave me a sense of, illusion of, because the nurses, as agency nurse, you're paid more. So in NHS, you're paid like what, £16.58 right now, or 48. While as agency nurse, we were talking about £25 going up. So you can think that, oh, if I only work 3 days, I make the same money that I can make in NHS working for full time, or working 4 days in a week or 5 days in a week. But what you're doing right there is that you really haven't improved financially, because if you are doing the same thing that you are doing, getting the same money, what's the difference? What's the point of me going to work for agency? You know what I mean? But all of this was all my pride and, how can I say, pride and ego, thinking that, I can't work for NHS because they don't pay me much money. It's not worth it and all that. So I'm going to work for agency. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong wanting more. But I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a plan of saying, okay, I'm going to earn this much money. What difference can it make? If I work with agency and I work these days and I work this kind of money, how much extra am I making that I can put on the side, that I can save? That I didn't think about. So I found myself working with an agency, even though I was not working many days, but I was making the same money that I was making with NHS. But you have to remember that I'm only working when I can, which means the salary that I was even making with NHS, if I was making like, let's say 2,200 a month, I was doing the same with the agency. So my finances haven't improved. Then I found myself even making less. Sometimes I would make 1,600 a month. And that means now my outgoing was a lot. I was spending more than I should, spending money on the stupid stuff, not saving money, telling myself that money will always come, because I've always been this kind of person that money has always been there for me. Like, God has really blessed me that every time. I've never seen myself to be in lack, where to the point where I don't have money to feed my child, where I don't have money to buy food. So I've lived in this notion, I've lived in this illusion that things will always be like that. But as God may have it, really, I felt like God, which I'm so grateful for, I felt like God really put me in a position where He wanted to teach me a few things. God wants us to be wealthy, but at the same time, God will never continue to give you things that you squander, to bless you with things that you don't even appreciate, that you can't multiply, that you can't bring growth to it. That's what I think I've learned in my life. I'm telling you guys, I was overdrawn in my account. I maximize my credit cards. And with credit cards, if you're not paying back the money that you should be paying, somehow the credit card, you can't use it anymore. They'll block it for you. They blocked my credit cards. I overdrawn my account, used to the max my account, overdrawn. It's embarrassing, but I'm talking about this and being honest and transparent, so that while I'm rebuilding and restoring my life, you can learn from my mistakes. You can also build with me, and you can do the same with your life. So I found myself overdrawn. I can't use a credit card anymore. I'll go to the store and the card is, bouncing, and which has never happened before. My son has never witnessed that, and I felt really like God has blessed me with this child for me to look after, and I'm here. I felt like I'm mistreating my child. I felt like I'm failing my child. I failed myself, and I failed God, and I found myself, I was so depressed. I became really depressed. I found myself so bitter, pointing fingers. Oh no, it's because I live in the UK. UK is shit. I remember I found myself watching content about people living in the UK. So when you kind of consume that kind of content where you're not happy with the way you live, you don't really have plans, you don't really make plans that can improve your life where you are, because you can't live your life based on, if I were in this place, based on if that happened, my life would have been better. Because then you would never improve your life, because you have to improve your life where you are. And I had to learn this the hard way. I had to sit down with myself. I had to come to my senses, like they say with the prodigal son, where he squandered everything, found himself eating in a pig pen, and said, you know what, I have my father. I'll go back to my father's house. Even if I have to be a servant and start all over again and to get paid with my father, I can do that. I can go back. I don't have to eat in a pig pen. And I think I found myself in that position where I was like, listen, I can do better than this. I live in a social house. I know this is something that maybe for some people they'll say too much information, but I'm saying this to be accountable to myself and to really stick to the plans that I'm having right now to improve my life, to restore my life, and to rebuild my life. I went in a social housing because at that moment I was still going back to school, so I couldn't afford private housing, they call it in UK. So I applied for social housing. They gave it to me. In US they call them projects. So I lived there, and I remember I would still live as if I have my own house, as if I've bought my own mortgage. I could have taken mortgage. I had privileges. I had finances that I could have used to buy my own house. I could have used to save and deposit in my own house, but I never done that. Because why? I said, well, I live in a cheap house, so why should I care? Instead of me using that opportunity of saying that I'm living in a council house, which is cheaper, let me use this opportunity to save money, and whether it's investing or buy another house, I want to build my house back home. Yes, I have my father who can give me a house to start from, but I want to do things for myself. So all of this, all I'm saying, guys, is that when you don't plan your life, when you live a life where you don't even appreciate your environment, yes, I'm living in a social housing. It's embarrassing to say that, but that was a privilege that God gave me for me to use that money that I'm saving to perhaps, invest and buy a house, but I've never done that. There's so many things that I can share right now that I haven't done, that I should have done. But I haven't done that. Why? Because I made stupid decisions. Living life like I'm a rich person, living life like I'm worthy, living life like I have money, living life like, I'm this rich chick. I'm trying not to swear, okay? So all of that, I've done that. And then social media does not help. When you're following people who have money, you don't know how they're making their money. I would say being a single parent, sometimes people look down on you. People expect you to struggle. So my life, I lived of trying to prove a point, to prove to people that I'm not struggling, to prove to people that yes, I'm a single mom or lone parent. I don't give a damn. I can still make it. So for that, I squandered money. I'll spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds, or thousands of pounds on his birthday, as if I have so much money or I have so much to spend in that manner. And all because of social media. And then all these things didn't dawn on me until last year in 2024. So 2024, I came to myself, I came to my senses. I said to myself, why am I still in social housing? That's number one. I am a nurse now. I graduated. Yes, I don't get paid much, but it's because I live above my means. I had to look at my finances, look at my outgoings. My outgoings were like more than what I get paid in a month. What the hell am I doing? All this because I use my credit card as if I have so much money. I use my credit card to do stupid stuff. Use credit cards to send money back home, and then they think that I'm rich, and now they give me headache because they have money. But I've stopped all of that now. I say to myself, if I don't have anything to give, I don't have to give. I can't pour from an empty cup. I can't keep giving people things when myself I don't have. I can't keep emptying my account to send it back home when I don't have enough money for myself and for my son. I had to really sit down and say, God, please take away this bitterness in me so I can I can look at my mistakes and live according to those mistakes and rectify them. And then I had to take inventory of the things that I've been buying, of how I've been spending money, and how I found myself in a position where I can't even afford basic stuff. Like that time when I'm scraping in my house looking for pennies to give my son to go to use a bus. What the hell? And another thing that I didn't mention, when you have a job, guys, don't leave a job without a plan. Do not leave a job. Don't listen to people on social media and be like, oh, I deserve better. Like, I had this belief that, oh, I can do better, I can get paid better. But you have to remember that in industry you are in, your career that you path that you have, like as a nurse, you know that in the UK you cannot get paid more than you think that they should be getting paid, unless your agency nurse, you're doing some things, and that was a long time ago. I had to tell myself I have to live in reality. I'm not a politician that I can just have so much thousands of pounds in my account. I don't have that. So once I take that inventory in my life, how I spend my money, and realize that I've really squandered my money, I've spent on stupid stuff, look at my credit cards and look at my outgoings. So now I had to sit down and say, you know what, I need to stop this foolishness. I need to stop everything else and start rebuilding my life from scratch. Yes, I've made mistakes now, but I know better. I know that I can budget money. People who know me, they would say, oh my God, we didn't know things were this bad with Flavia, because I've always lived a life where I want to show that everything is fine. Everything is okay. I'm making it. I'm doing it. Yes, I'm a single mom. I think that comes out of shame, because the shame that we Africans will shame each other when somebody finds themselves as a lone parent or single parent. People will shame you, they look down on you. So with that, I really took it the hard way, where I felt like I had to prove a point all the time. I had to prove that I am not struggling. But that put me in a financial burden, because I was doing extra stuff that I shouldn't do. I was spending extra money that I shouldn't spend. So what I'm saying, guys, is I do regret living a life as if I'm a rich person. I do regret putting myself, my son, in a financial challenge era, which really I should never ever in my life to find myself in that position. Looking at how God has blessed me. So yes, I do regret. People would say, oh no, you shouldn't be regretting anything in life. Well, one of the things that I regret the most is how I use my finances, is how I squandered my money, is how I lived a life without saving, is how I lived my life without investing, how I lived my life putting my son in a position where we couldn't even have enough. Like there was a time we can't even afford fruits, milk. I could share a lot right now, but I feel like I would share another day. That would be for another day. I think I've shared enough today. All I'm trying to say, guys, is that when you find yourself regretting, or you've made wrong decisions in life, you are struggling, you can start all over. I am starting all over, and hopefully you can follow my journey, subscribe to my channel, follow me and see how I'm trying to improve my life. And hopefully you can give me pointers, we can share a story with each other. And if you find yourself in the same position, cost of living has gone high, so we have to live within our means. I have to live within my means. I had to learn that the hard way. I have to stay in a job. That's another thing I've learned. I can't just be leaving the job and going. And also I had to be in a reality of saying that I'm a lone parent. I had to come to a realization that I have to look for a job that caters around my schedule. God is really faithful, When you've made a mistake in your life, when you come to a place where you realize your mistake and you confess your sins and you tell God, you're sorry, because I had to apologize to God. I had to tell God, I'm really sorry for misusing the opportunities that you've given me. I'm sorry, Lord, for not being wise enough. I'm sorry, Lord, for not being financially wise. I'm sorry, Lord, for putting myself in this position. Once I came to that place, God said, okay, we'll start this all over again. And that's where we are right now. So hopefully you get to see that journey, you get to follow me, I get to hear from you, you get to hear from me. Thank you for watching. My name is Flavia. Let's rebuild our life together and restore our life together until we meet again. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to subscribe. Bye.